What's up, everyone? This is the first shelf of my comedy section. I'm starting with the comedy section here, but I just thought I'd share some of the movies I have in my collection. The first movie here is College Road Trip with Martin Lawrence. I started buying, this movie I probably bought back when I first started, collecting movies because I was a huge Martin Lawrence fan, but I was actually really disappointed with this movie. Not very interesting, kind of disappointed in myself there. The next movie in my collection would be Evening with Kevin Smith, Evening Harder. One of my friends in high school actually got me into this, into Kevin Smith, and these Evening with Kevin Smith movies are extremely good. I like that he always breaks out the comedy and all that stuff, but he talks a lot about his experiences in Hollywood and making movies, certain actors and things like that, and a lot of audience participation in that. Great movie. Very happy to have it in my collection. Next, I'm not a huge stand-up comedy fan, but this one actually got me laughing hysterically. Martin Lawrence, Run Tell That. Like I said, huge Martin Lawrence fan, and this is a perfect example of why. This is like the perfect stand-up comedy bit right here. Next is Lay the Favorite. This movie, I'm a big Bruce Willis fan, so I just wanted to collect all of his movies, and this one was kind of a disappointment. It is a straight-to-DVD movie. I don't think it was really in the theater very much. If it was very limited. But, kind of a disappointing movie, but I brought it mainly for Bruce Willis. Next, Sim 1. Is it Simone or Sim 1? With Al Pacino. This movie, again, I'm a big, starting to collect Al Pacino movies, and this movie was not very good. See, next movie here is War Inc. with John Cusack and Dan Aykroyd and Ben Kingsley. This movie was okay. I like John Cusack as an actor, but this movie didn't really didn't float my boat, I guess you can say. But it wasn't a bad movie. Next is a very disappointing movie, The Benchwarmers with Rob Schneider, David Spade, and Jon Heder. This one was, I was like, oh, it's produced by Adam Sandler. This should be good, and oh man. Next is The Perfect Score. Yeah, Chris Evans back when he was younger, Scarlett Johansson, and Erika Christensen, who probably at the time was probably one of the bigger actresses in this movie. But yeah, this movie was actually okay. It wasn't fantastic, but it was okay. Let's see here. Next is Young Adult with Charlize Theron. I'm a big fan of hers, but I didn't really like this movie too much. But Patton Oswalt did do a very, very amazing in this movie. See, next, Swingers. I'm a big Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau fan, and I know a lot of people really like this movie. I really did not like this movie. I thought it was very boring. Didn't make me laugh at all. A lot of their better work was definitely later on. Okay, next is This Is the End. Now, this one I was disappointed in a little bit just because of the cast. There's a lot of big people in this movie, and I'm a big fan of a lot of them, but this movie was kind of stupid. Like I said, I love Seth Rogen, but this one let me down. Next, I'm not really a big cartoon person, but again, Bruce Willis. Here we go. He voiced the raccoon in Over the Hedge. It was an okay movie. Next is Madagascar. Again, it was a cute movie, but I'm not really a big cartoon person. After that, here is the first Shrek movie. You know, like, I'm not a really big cartoon person, but this one is actually one I did enjoy, Shrek. Next, of course, is Shrek 2. You know, I loved the addition of Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots. You know, he's probably my favorite character in the Shrek movies. Next is Shrek the Third. You know, as sequels go on, they kind of, you know, usually start to get worse. Again, you know, not a big cartoon fan, but, you know, this one was a little bit harder to watch. Next, you know, it might be more of a chick flick than a comedy thing, but, you know, I don't know, it seemed more of a comedy to me. Fever Pitch with Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon. This was actually a pretty good movie. Wasn't horrible. You know, this was when Jimmy Fallon was, you know, right after he had made Taxi, so he was trying to make his way into mainstream movies from Saturday Night Live. Next after that is Bewitched with Nicole Kidman and Will Ferrell. Big Will Ferrell fan. Nicole Kidman, she's kind of hit or miss for me. This movie was a miss. This movie was, I didn't like it at all. Next was kind of a disappointment for me because I'm a big Jim Carrey fan, but Fun with Dick and Jane. You know, I was sitting there thinking like, oh, maybe if it's as good as Bruce Almighty or The Mask or Liar Liar, that I'd be okay. And yeah, I was nowhere near those. Next is Nacho Libre with Jack Black. And then a movie I watched as a kid that when I found it, I just had to get it for nostalgia purposes, Bushwhacked. This is actually still pretty good. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's definitely worth a watch.